Welcome to part 2 of our guide to the RDR, the Retail Distribution Review. Make no mistake, the RDR is good news for investors. In particular, it will mean greater transparency about how much we're paying and what for. It should also result in higher professional standards. But the RDR brings with it potential new pitfalls for investors. The first thing you need to decide is whether you want independent advice or restricted advice. Independent advisors will have to offer a comprehensive range of products. Restricted advisors will only sell certain types of products or products from a limited number of companies.
There'll be a lot of marketing speak around firms who specialise, who've got a focus, they've got focused advice and so on. But at the end of the day, there are still only two considerations. Is it independent or is it restricted? An independent advisor can go anywhere that the client needs to go. A restricted advisor will have some sort of constraint on the advice that they can give, and they must explain what the nature of that restriction is to their client. So consumers need to understand whether that will have an impact on the advice that they get.
Under the new system, advisors will only be able to earn commission on protection-only products. For everything else, they'll need to agree a fee with you. That's a conversation you ought to be having very soon.
Be sure that what you're being charged for is actually worth having in the first place. It's very easy just to get a bill for £500 and then sort of not be sure, how much time your financial advisor has spent on your affairs, during the course of that 12 months. So, if you do get a bill, go back to your financial advisor and say, can you just outline for me what you've actually done over the last 12 months that justifies this fee of £500? You actually may be able to negotiate the fee down, or you may actually find that there wasn't enough advice in the first place, so you don't have to pay it.
Now, because you may not have paid a fee to your financial advisor in the past, you might be reluctant to start paying one now. But remember, you were probably paying your advisor more under the old system than you will under the new.
A lot of people who think they're currently not paying for advice actually are. Advice has never been free. It's just that it hasn't always been quite so obvious how it was actually paid for. The good thing about the RDR is that it will make abundantly clear who is paying what to whom, and in the long run I think that's a very good thing. In the short run, it's absolutely true that some people who actually are paying quite a lot for financial advice but don't realise it will now think, gosh, I don't know whether I can afford this. The truth is they always were paying it.
In recent years, there's been an increase in the number of investors managing without financial advice at all. Many industry observers are predicting that the RDR will mean even more people opting for the DIY approach. So, is going it alone a good idea?
It's a difficult one because it all depends on exactly how much time we're willing to spend and how much energy and also how much information that you can gather. We have a wonderful thing called the internet, and we have a wonderful thing, in terms of a really buoyant financial press out there as well. So there is information out there. I mean, I personally am a DIY investor. I always have been, always wanted to take control of myself, mainly because I always thought that if something goes wrong, I only have one person to blame, and that's myself. However, I do still think that in many instances it is a really good idea to take independent financial advice.
Currently things are very difficult. The products that are out there, the pensions, the jargon and the lingo that people use makes doing your own investments very, very difficult. I think moving forward, what the RDR will do, it will bring new players to the market, new investment companies, new providers. And what they'll do, they will have to simplify the products. And by simplifying it, it should mean that the mass market, the people that can't afford to get the advice, will then be able to do it themselves.
That's it for part 2. Join us again for part 3 when we'll be looking at the wider implications of the Retail Distribution Review for the financial services industry as a whole.